shot. Nice. Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna hear your go, go, go. I wanna see you falling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Pretty much. They play, you win.
Welcome to the European Development Championship. We are here to watch some of the teams that are up and coming, kind of top 30 region, battle out against each other and see who can take the crown at the end of the day. We're in the playoffs, and it is, of course, the quarterfinals. We've already had one game go down, and it's time for game number 2 between HellRaisers and NaVi to determine who is going to be meeting HellRaisers in the semifinals. My name is Mitch. With me is the beautiful and the well-dressed, I have to say, Jackie. You're looking handsome today, mate.
Thank you. It's like we've started the day again. So for anyone that didn't see it last time, would have no idea that I accidentally called you Tom, and it all spiraled out of control. Until now,
all my hair disappeared.
I've ruined the illusion. Yeah, imagine that. That'd be a funky look. You'd look a little bit like a very aggressive egg.
Much like Tom, I'd be we'd be on theme whenever we work together. But yeah, I have to say I'm more like I'm in between the two, right? Tom's got no hair, you've got a lot of hair. I'm like,
true.
Basically a mid ground.
Yeah, together we'll make like one normal person.
There we go. There we go. Well, look, there's no normal people here. We're all gamers. We're all ready to get into the games. As we're going to be starting out on Vertigo. You see the veto go down in front of your beautiful faces. Overpass and nuke removed. We go Vertigo and Train, and then onto Inferno as a decider. As we said in the previous series, Inferno, it's the decider map. It's the mid ground for teams. It's the one that we love to see. But starting it out on Vertigo, I'm happy about that. We had a fun match there between Endpoint and HellRaisers. Now moving on to NaVi Jr. versus HellRaisers, with NaVi Jr. choosing the map but starting on the T side, and similarly on Train, NaVi have chosen to start on the CT side. And you might wonder, why is there a crosshair on the stream? That's HellRaiser's logo. Don't know how many millions it costs, but I hope 0. It's for the boys. I don't like Train, gotta be honest. Hate the map. I think it's one of those things. You know who ruined it for me? I mean, just terribly. It was Taz. Taz ruined this map for me because he once had 2 best of 2s, right? Back to back. He played the second map of the first best of 2 was Train. The first map of the second best of 2 was Train. Each one was either 6 or 5 overtimes.
Oof.
I think I know how Taz likes to play Train like the back of my hand. I could have predicted every round from the first 3 seconds. It was a lot. It was a lot of Train. It was a Train overdose. And from that point forward, I've hated the map.
It's, I mean, you know, understandable. I don't blame you. I tell you who else seems to hate Train, though. NaVi Jr., Mitch, because they've only ever picked it one other time. There's only ever been one official with this roster on HLTV playing that map. So in terms of, obviously, you know, looking at the statistics game, you're thinking immediately here, we've got 2 very strong maps, both of them walking away with their first picks. So straight into Vertigo, this should be the NaVi show. Then you get the Train, that's going to be HellRaisers territory. And then finally, with Inferno lining up, being the middle of the pack map for both of them. So we've got basically like the most balanced veto we could have gotten out of this series.
I mean, that's what I like to hear, though. It sets us up for a nice little 3 map. Of course, there's always the possibility of a little bit of a curveball coming in there. But yeah, when you look at the stats, HellRaiser's so favored on Train to take it across the line. They've got a decent chance on Vertigo as well. Although NaVi Jr. been putting up some serious figures when it comes to Vertigo. You look at some of their past games. Okay, again, they're maybe not versus the best teams in the world, but they're dominating. They're winning a lot of these games. Copenhagen Flames, who play the map, they've managed to beat, sure, double OT, but a win's a win. At the end of the day. And you look down even further, when they play weaker opposition, when they play a team that's not that comfortable on it, they smash Giants, alternate attacks, Lil Mix, capable of getting at most 4 rounds out of them. So this is somewhere that they're evidently comfortable. The question is, are they comfortable enough to smash HellRaisers? Because in my opinion, they're going to need Vertigo if they're going to make this a third map.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I also think it's just how, like, in terms of individual impact as well, a lot of names that I think at this point people are starting to get quite familiar with, specifically in the CIS scene as well. One of the interesting talking points about this as well that me and Tom were discussing is Monizy, Minus, I believe his name is in terms of pronunciation. This is ridiculous. Like, absolutely unbelievable. In terms of his actual rating, it's through the roof, 1.13, but that's for a man who is 15 years of age. Mitch, that is madness when you think about the quality of talent they're breeding out of him. Tom was saying before that apparently there's been quotes floating around the NaVi offices that the NaVi coaching staff believe that this man could be up there with Simple. It's one of those where you think, this is at 15 years old. If he's already that mechanically skilled, think of how much you could teach him just over those years.
It's pretty unbelievable. I think, players growing up in this environment as well, when you're discovered at that age, you're picked by a big team. You've got so much more than Simple ever did when he was a kid. When he was playing, it was, go for your 5v5s, go for your 10-mans, play out like you were pugging, basically, in your spare time. These guys, they've got mental coaches, they've got physical coaches, like nutritionists, all this sort of stuff. They have so much support network there to grow them as a player before they even touch a server. And I think that's something that when you look at someone who has the raw talent, if you put Simple at 15 years old or 14 years old now into the system, he would be a better player, hands down, than he is right now. So that's huge. The fact that he's obviously delivering. And when you look at, in terms of HellRaisers, obviously massive organization, NaVi Junior, big youth team. They're putting a lot of money into developing those younger guys. Monizy comes in as the highest rated player of all 10 players on the server right now. And that's with some pretty damn big names. I mean, JR, Kalinka, these guys have been around for quite a while. I mean, HellRaisers didn't exactly pick up some new kids on the block. And yet you've got Monizy coming in. He's got a 1.13 rating at the moment. And again, their opposition isn't the best in the world. Like, you look at the last few games that they've got, it's 2 times alternate attacks, Copenhagen Flames, Nexus, Lil Mix, a Swedish team. So, yeah, you're not playing against the best in the world, but still to be able to deliver at that young age it's a big deal.
Oh yeah, it's still a lot of pressure. You think about, like, sort of how thick the calendar's been this year with just so many games back to back, right? If you're coming in and you're being able to contribute at least and helping out with the NaVi roster here and there, because he's not even like the dedicated fifth into the team. That was the more exciting bit about it, right? Is he was kind of just slotted in. They've been able to make the most of him, which is great. It's all huge experience for him. He's already out there donning it, 15 years old, and posting some big results. But it looks like we're finally ready to kick this one off, as we should be heading into the first map. As we were saying, veto-wise, we start off here with Vertigo. Then it will be Train, and if necessary, Inferno to close us out. Mitch, I think we might have a bit of a fun one here. Obviously, I think this is going to be a very different style of game from what we had with Endpoint Movistar Riders on this map.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, when I look at HellRaisers, this is a map that tends to play as a bit of an even field for them. They're not that experienced on Vertigo. They're not that comfortable. And you see that even in how close some of their games are versus teams that really aren't that great. I think Project X over in the Vulcan Fight series, they managed to beat them 16-9. Relatively close game. That's sort of underlines how much or how little, in a way, I expect from them in this. When I look at NaVi Junior, though, they thrive on the T side. They do well CT as well. They've shut out so many teams. Their only losses, one is to Gambit over in DreamHack Open, and the other was to the ex-Mustang crew. Again, a team that's fairly respectable within the CIS region. So I really wouldn't be surprised if this is a quick map and a quick 1-0 lead to NaVi Junior. We'll see if HellRaisers are able to put up any bit of a fight as we move on into the map now. Starting out in the pistol round, as we said, this is the map choice of NaVi Junior, which means HellRaisers got to choose which side to start on. And as most teams do, they decided on the CT side.
All right, well, here we go then. Kicking it off, first round of our second best of 3 of the day, and already JR straight in there, snapping down. Might have seen trade it back as well. We're just seeing frags flying all over the shop. Seconds into the game. Kalinka. And you get kalunked. Zil fall over. We fall into a 3v3. A minute and 25 seconds as the bomb goes down. So they're quite speedy about this one. Capachao playing close, just sat between AC. Let's see if he can cool down this round.
Let's see what he can do. We've already had the 1 kill come in.
Oh,
Gaspadrov. That's going to take a while to say.
big man Gospoda.
He shut that down. So I like Gaspa basically swings out first. He takes that frag, and then Kappa in from the back lines, swings in, takes what else is left to sweep up, picking up the 3K. NaVi Jr. up 1-0. Nice little 3 versus 3, closed out cleanly. And of course, we mentioned, you know, when you're the T side and you get the plant, like that's all that we saw in the previous game. T side gets plant, loses round. That was it was the formula. This time though, for HellRaisers, they're not going to be investing into anything, and it absolutely makes sense. Why would you? In this position, your money is going to be stacked high for the next round. But that's also why you see NaVi Jr. invest so heavily into rifles. They know that they're against pistols in this one, and the next round is going to be where they face off against M4. So they need to have the weapons to fight that fight. But what that means also is that HellRaisers, any kill that they can get here is hugely valuable.
Any money you can make by starving the economy for the NaVi Jr. side will be beneficial. Gaspada out towards middle. Gonna have a bit of a shooting gallery here. He's very paranoid about the peak. It seemed like he was prepared for it, but when they do face, instead it's Manizi that finds the frag and kills 1 man. Makes a bit of a problem into the round for HR. Then you have 4 players alive, of course, all of them with the USPs as well. You can see the migration coming in from NaVi, setting their sights back over at B, as Topper will look for the entry.
Now look at how tight-knit they are, though. NaVi Jr. of players left, right, and center ready to trade this one out. There's a little bit of a wide swing by Mac 10, but he's finding all the kills. And I mean, that's kind of the goal when you've got that weapon. Farm the money, get the kills. But as soon as he goes down to 6 HP, he just falls back. Lets his teammates continue to take those fights as he's content to save the armor even that he's got. And that's one of the cleanest rounds, the cleanest anti-egos that we've seen so far. I think between Movistar and Endpoint, they were competing to have some of the sloppier rounds. But now, I'm happy to see NaVi Jr., well-oiled machine, moving through and just shredding.
Looking like a paper shredder. And HR, they're a nice prime A4 slice. They've been fed into the machine. They've been grounded up. Looking a little bit like confetti now, but not too much like confetti, Mitch. Just enough. Ooh, hello. There'll be some celebrations for that one, though. Topper, straight in, knocking the top off of... there is a way to say his name, and I can't remember what it is. I've been taught the pronunciation before, because it's not just Jalim. I can't remember if it's Jame or Joe.
I think it's Jame.
Yeah.
Joe would be a very odd pronunciation.
Hey, you know, you never know, man. Counter-Strike names. Counter-Strike names.
You do never know.
But yeah, I think it is Jame.
For us simpletons from the UK and Ireland, it's hard to pronounce the CIS names. Zapower will forever be the thing that haunts me. We said his name wrong for, I think, close to a year. And I said his name wrong in front of him, and he never corrected me until I just straight asked him. He's a very nice guy. Very polite.
Humble.
Exactly. Like for NaVi, you can see they're moving in towards the ramp. They're wanting to just push straight into the side. But there's still 2 players defending, and JR is the real staple of this defense. He was up top. I think he could still have had an angle above the smoke, but he falls back. Why is he rotating so heavily? Are they looking for a save? Kalinka's found a double kill. Did they think that was a fake? I'm so confused. They get back to the site now, but it's a 3v3. JR would have been instrumental in holding that down with the op, but he left. I'm scratching my head, Jackie. I really don't understand, but I've just witnessed some of the weirdest calls I've ever seen from HellRaisers, as they're now left into this 3v3 to try and get back on the site and get this defused. They've got a bit of utility to work with for NaVi. Tucked up behind the smokes. Already one coming through from Flourish, but he's only able for the one. This is troublesome. Manizi hiding behind the smoke, has a good angle onto the opposite, boosts up above, left into the 1v1, creeps in the smoke, gets around the side, but Problem spots him. No time. That's the problem. So although he picks up the op, he won't pick up the round. 3-0 for NaVi.
Yeah, got to get away. Got to let that one go. Good delay tactics coming out from the T's, wasting enough time to actually secure it. Very costly for either side, but at least the AWP was saved, right? Give that back over to JR. Hopefully this time he'll be there when they push up to be able to punish them. Just rotated off a little bit, gave them that gap, and the timing really did not help them. So 3-0. Good start for NaVi Jr. Potential for a fourth as well when you look at the actual buy that's coming out for the CTs. There's just not that much to work with. An MP9, few P250s, Deagle and an AWP. Smokes as well. It's just the one on JR. So delaying is going to be a horrific way to get yourself into the game. You're not going to be able to really slow this down a lot.
Gonna hope for some massive Mopaz plays when they push on in. I think problem up close. Yeah, he's got one of the better chances if he's left unchecked because he's got support, right? This is the thing. Kalinka's job isn't to find a kill. It's just to make some noise to get them focused on him. So the problem can just swing, or rather, stay tucked and take the kills as they swing. It all comes down to how well this is played and how well they play off each other. Kalinka's done his job, but problem, he swung not too wide. He's able for one, able for two. Big plays by Problem. USP out as he runs out of ammo. Kalinka in the backlines had been spotted, but they don't know that he snuck his way over to those steel beams. Might just look to melt this attack. Larich up behind the smoke. There's two Deagles in play here. Big play by JR as well. Kalinka still harassing, and they have no idea about Flarage, who's looking set and primed to push through once that smoke dissipates. NaVi, they're in dire straits right now. There's still only the one op to worry about, but that is a pretty big weapon. And he's just not peeking. This is the thing. JR can just stay tucked in. He's got the support. He knows he can't be pushed on the left. And once he doesn't move, this round is theirs. 20 seconds remaining. Shot missed. Capaccio, quick on the frag. Gospa, he's good for the first. But how much more can he get? It's a 1v1. 8 seconds. Has to go for the plant. No idea where this final player is. Rushing over to the boxes. He'll put it down. He's sticking it. And that's the easiest kill.
Hello?
Look at James. He left that a little bit too long for my liking, but he found it in the end.
Man, I was scared actually when he was walking out. I suppose he was playing the tactical play. He wanted to actually have the clear shot, make sure he could take it. Not get messed about by the hitbox. Spooky though. Does clutch it. Tight round. All of these rounds have actually been quite close. Very reminiscent of what we had into the prior, but this time there was enough time for HellRaisers to seize the day and get themselves back in the game. So a first round finally picked up, and again, the AWP carried over as well. So that won't be fading out of existence as it's given back to JR. We'll see if this will now be the start of a potential tight affair on this first half. The T side was looking really good earlier today. We saw a lot of great T side play here in our first series of the night. Is that going to be the case once again as well for NaVi? Kalashnikov's on parade. Fear just with a Deagle. He does have a fair bit of offensive utility to try and at least give them some kind of edge.
That's the idea, right? You send one guy down to a Deagle just so we can provide that supportive element to the round. Especially when you're investing so heavily into rifles with such a low economy. But James, great position. Only good for one as he catches the jump up, but Fear is there to trade. Grabs the AK. Although, again, 4v4s will pretty much always favor the T side. It's even more so when you've had that Deagle in play that's able to upgrade. Now they're in a better position than where they started things out. HellRaisers, 2 players towards this side still to deal with. Flash comes out. Gonna peek out on the ramp. 3 players pushing forward. There's a crossfire, though. This is the problem. Flarage, good for the first. Fear a little bit late coming up through short. They deal with Flarage, but then the op comes through. JR onto Fear. He got the shot just before the smoke bloomed. And a 2 versus 3. A tough one to win out. There we go. Looking at JR. I mean, he's tucked in. He doesn't really need to do anything at this point. He just waits for his teammates, let the smokes dissipate, let all the utility disappear, see if he can find a pick and cover his mates as they push back in. Kalinka, well, he just wins the round by himself on the flank on the ramp. Easy peasy. Diffuse comes through, and that is going to be a nice, comfortable 3-2.
Well, you know what they say, Mitch? King Kalinka, he'll sink you. And he did. NaVi, they went down like a sinking ship into that round, weren't able to pick it up. And HR, getting back into the groove now. Looking good here. Odds-wise, though, very much believing this one to be about as close as the scoreline. A very slight edge for NaVi. 1.85 to 1.9. So very, very tight stuff. Keeping it close. NaVi, I doubt, will keep this round too close, though. They don't have much money here to work with, of course. Just the odd deagle thrown into the fray. Gaspada debating, but will eventually pick up a deagle of his own and start to make his move out of spawn. Early HE coming in off the back of problem. Cast out towards the outside of B. Slightly slows down the push. They're really trying to get themselves an opening deagle frag here. And he's just teasing it. Little jiggle peek with the Kalashnikov.
You know, rounds like this, you'll typically see a much faster play, but having invested into 5 deagles, I don't mind that NaVi are taking the ranged fights and really pumping the brakes on this round. The opportunities are definitely there. He's been spotted down towards the bottom of the ramp, though. There were 3 players lined up in a firing squad, and James just peeks out. He goes for it. The nade sort of catching them off guard and making them move a little bit, I think was the idea. That was a ballsy play, though, and unnecessary, really, considering the buy they were up against. Now there's an M4 picked up, and it's in the hands of Manizi. This guy we already know to be a beast. The smoke's going to go down. It won't fully block off the op if he wants to jump up top. But again, that would be so aggressive. And I guess for the CIS region, we shouldn't rule anything out. We shouldn't rule out Manizi, that's for damn sure. Second weapon to be retrieved if they want to. The rotation on the ramp, they're going to commit towards this site. Gospa. He not picked up the weapon? There should be a rifle there under his feet. I think he's walked right past it.
Oh, no.
How's he done that? He's got a deagle at least. We'll see what he can do with that. Plant down, backing off. Manizi on the ramp. Gospa falls. Oh. There's the shot. Manizi, he's so damn good. He's gotten another. Capacho picks up the M4, and now it's a 2 versus 1. Problem tapping the bomb. He's going to swing out, but the spray control not there. And Manizi in with a 4th kill of the round. It started with a deagle, and HellRaisers, again, they threw that one away. There was just no need for James to go for that peek up against Eagles on ramp.
God damn, Mitch. Imagine being that good at anything at age 15. Like, my God, this guy's going to be unreal. Like, the longer he gets to just play and develop as a player in Counter-Strike, and obviously have someone that can teach him the ropes as well in terms of strategy, because the raw talent's naturally just already there. It's pretty actually sick to see. It's really, really cool. It's NaVi Jr. benefiting a lot here, and he's coming in as a super sub. Obviously, you normally have Bit there, a Bit at the minute. Not in a roster, busy. So instead, you bring him an Essie, and you just allow him to kind of just flex on the opponents. He's looking damn good. So, we're going to the 7th round. 4-2, 2-round advantage for NaVi Jr. at this point. Bit of damage done. All of them painted with the same brush there. Fear, Topper, and Gaspada, all knocked down. But no reason to overreact in this one. Still got about a minute on the clock as well. Indecisive, though, where they actually want to finish.
.50-second mark being reached for HellRaisers. They're feeling a little bit antsy. They haven't got any control and anything aggressive. And of course, you know HellRaisers, they've got to get aggressive control. So they're pushing up through short. And a scaffold attack might just work out for them. JR with the hyper-aggressive position. He's flashed off the angle, manages to fall back. Okay, now on the site. But the smokes proved to be their enemy. There's a little bit of a gap, and they're caught off on the retreat. There's 1 kill at least, and we'll see what else they can muster. NaVi, they've got the plant. Yeah, you're not going to get them on the fallback there, unfortunately. That spam is suited if they plant in the corner, but they've gone for default. Manizi holding down in this aggressive position, up right on top of the bomb. But for HellRaisers, it seems like they're thinking about the save already. They're worried about a flanker, which is understandable, but the fact that they've pulled back so much, this is showing, combined with their economy and where it's at, and they're going to be saving these weapons through. Just 1 kill. That's all it took for NaVi Jr. Quick and clean round.
Nice. Nice stuff. Here we go. Setting themselves up as well for the saving totem pole, trying to make the most of the fact that everyone's low. Bomb radius, of course, on Vertigo and Nuke. Different from every other map in the pool. The only maps that don't have a bomb radius as big as 400, I believe it is. I think they're 300, so you're able to tuck yourself away closer to the site and have a good old save. 5-2 split then on the scoreline. Bloating somewhat for the NaVi Junior side. Hitting their shots, they're looking good. And it's not really anyone underperforming. I mean, yeah, sure, Topper's only got one at the minute, but he hasn't need to hit many shots. The rest of his team doing a lot of the work for them. 9, 7, and 7 frags now as well for Gasparda as he makes the adjustment with the AWP and shuts down the push from JR, silencing the aggression of the CTs immediately. And with a bad buy they've got here, Mitch, NaVi licking their lips on the 8th round.
Reality is, you know, they're feeling hungry, but they're also eating all the time, right? They're gobbling up their opponents, and HellRaisers at the moment, considering the fact that obviously they saved over so many weapons, they're in this slightly better position to fight for the combined with the FAMAS pushing forward, nothing to be found, and it's about as brutal as you'd expect from the get-go. Topa taking the most damage almost by stepping into a molly by himself. That's basically as bad as it's looked for NaVi in this round. Okay, they've lost fear, but that's fine. And we talked about this already, right? We said how the T side in general, we said it in the previous match, is where most teams will show up over on Vertigo. And we talked about NaVi. We said their T side. They dominate. They look good. But it's the same on the CT. And for HellRaisers, they don't seem to really step it up that much on the attack. So for me, you know, seeing NaVi get up to 9 rounds is pretty much a nail in the coffin for HellRaisers that they'll have to fight very hard to break back out of. And I think it's very much what we expect, though. We said it coming into this. You know, the first map is probably going to be a massacre. My only concern is, how does it work, right? If you get absolutely smacked out on the first map, coming into the second, even if it's your favorite, right? Train is definitely much better for HellRaisers than Vertigo is. It can be tough to really get the ball rolling then.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's obviously the mental aspect of it as well, right? Like, you have to get back into the game. You need to win some consideration rounds to at least give you a bit of confidence. If it carries on in the form that we're sort of seeing from NaVi here, where it is just sort of solo clutch impact rounds that are few and far between for HR, those are being the only ones they pick up. If that's maintained, and yeah, NaVi Jr. definitely looking to be able to crush their way through this one. And you're right, going into train, potentially, it should be a nice environment for HellRaisers. And a nice environment, if you want to get involved with some Hellcases, head over and use the code that's up on screen, hellcase.com, or you can use the link that is down below. And it's one of those, Mitch, where, yeah, train could be sick for HellRaisers. They could definitely pop off. Obviously, NaVi Jr. as well. They've only played it once in terms of recorded games on HLTV, so you would always give HR to stock. But they need to get back into the game here. They live in the present at the minute as the push is coming in towards the B site from NaVi, trying to apply pressure. Utility going to be cast out. Let's see if they can kick up a fuss.
Let's see indeed. What fuss is there for HellRaisers to still make? They're in a tough spot. That's for damn sure. Losing this round is your all favor really just starting to dissipate. That molly going down below the stairs. Unlucky for Problemo. Or a problemo for problem. NaVi Jr. Again, it's been the same kind of thing round on round. They spread out. They look for picks. They usually get them. HellRaisers get that little bit over aggressive. And James, you can see, was toying with the idea until that flash came over. He's caught up close and doesn't win the duel, but the trade is there. JR managing to quickly get it on the off. Flourish in for a double, but they're shut down. Over aggression again and again. HellRaisers just seem incapable of sitting with the advantage that they get. They always want to force the fight, and it is just not working out for them right now. A 1v2 for Problem. He was stuck towards the other side. Now coming in for the retake. And he's going out the retake pretty quickly. 7-2. Jeez, this is not looking pretty.
God damn. Yeah, no, they're running over them. This is just the easy pickings. Bit by bit. NaVi smashing their way through this one. Ironic, really, they've got a player called Fear. And HellRaisers must be the ones that are terrified at this point. With just the buy they're bringing out, it's not looking great. I mean, you've got an AWP on JR, sure, but the rest of his teammates just have the Eagles, and they're all getting mullered anyway. As Manizi finds the first, Topper will have a follow-up as well. Should spot out. James peeking in with a Deagle. Will eventually get the kill, but he's left on 35 HP. Can't run the risk of trying to grab the gun either, and he won't be breathing anymore to use it. As he's fragged out by Gasparda, and it's all left on Problem. And a 1v4.
Again, He's left in the clutch situation. They know he's been playing towards the ramp, but he's also been quite quick to rotate, excuse me. There's quite a good chance that he's gone from this position, but they're still cautious of it, both swinging through at the same time. Again, something that we didn't see earlier on, and that I'm happy to see NaVi doing. Honestly, NaVi, like, it's nothing to do with the map. It's how they approach this game. They look really clean, and I'll be completely honest, this is my first time getting to see NaVi Jr. I haven't cast them. I haven't been particularly paying attention to them as a team, and maybe I should have been, because it's refreshing at this level to see this level of play. What are they right now? Where are they rated in the world? 73. That's a joke. These guys are better than that. It's like, you look at top 30, you look at the game we just saw, right? Movistar Riders didn't play nearly this well as a unit.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, all in all, you think about communication as well, and this is the fact that this is with a stand-in. The superstar of Manisi, right? Like, that goes to show. It's a testament of how clear the comms are. And that was a beautiful assault. An aerial bombardment of nades. 3 frags thrown out at once. The timing was amazing. And the results? Evident. Problem dead. Absolutely annihilated from the devastation that's just been unleashed upon him. And with 60 seconds left and a one-man advantage, they make their move up to A. They maraud their way in, swagging out as the bullets just miss them. They're going to be smiling with that one, Mitch. They have a round ahead of them, and they've still got the edge.
Of course they do. They always do. And low HP on JR, but he still manages to get a kill up aggressive. Falls back. The shot returned by Goss, but not quite landing. Now there's 3 players up close. They're going to just smoke this off and go in for the plant. Of course, they're worried about someone being behind them, but they also have to be worried about the spams and the nades that are still remaining, or potentially for HellRaisers. Look at this position by JR. Hyper aggressive up top. Shot missed, but Topa's there to swing in and get it anyways. And now the man advantage goes back to the T side, turning from the flash. Monizi ready to catch this as they come out. The firing squad awaits the swinging players. It's all down to Flourish. There's not a lot he can really do. This is likely 9-2, and there it is confirmed. NaVi Jr. steamrolling their opponents yet again.
God damn. Boy, oh boy. And the parry match odds coming in as well. Feeling very reminiscent of what we saw earlier on today with Endpoint Movistar. 8-1 there. Don't blame them, really. This time, Mitch, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. NaVi, they do look like tenfold the team at the minute. They're just hitting them hard. They're pulling it off. They're absolutely annihilating them. The only rounds we're seeing HellRaisers win are off the back of individual clutches. And obviously, they're just not sustainable. They're not something that you can rely on winning over and over again. And they haven't been coming out rapidly at this point.
I do wonder if you're HellRaisers, at what point do you drastically shift the strategy? Because at the moment, you know, we are again sticking towards ramp aggression, if not a slightly more aggressive stance on it, which I wouldn't put down to the position they're in. It's, or rather, in terms of rounds, but it's the eco that they've got. The fact that they're on Deagles and such. Yeah, this is where you start to push down the ramp and try to force those slightly closer range and more sporadic fights. But it doesn't net them a whole bunch. They get 1 rifle out of it, but they've lost the other site. It's going to be an easy plant on the B site with a retake for HellRaisers that I doubt they even go for. Kalinka, he has the AK. And I think that probably brings more value just carrying it through to the next round. If not for the fact that obviously they can all afford to buy in the next, but simply because you'll want to have an AK instead of an M4. But he's being flanked on. He will have no chance to save this without finding many kills. There's the first with 3 left to go.
Kalinka. Slowly brushing his way up, getting closer and closer for the peak. Lovely shot. Beautiful connection. As he will kill Medizi. Still a 1v2 though, and time is up. The jig has gone with it as well. As it seems like he should be falling down here, and Fear will find him. So that's the 10th round. NaVi Jr. soaring ahead. I suppose the scary bit about it is as well, if you think about when the actual rounds came in for them, they have just been on a spree for so long. So you had 3 rounds to open it up, the pistol and the following 2 for NaVi Jr. Then there was 2 rounds back-to-back from HellRaisers, both of them being late-round defuses off the back of just individual skill, really. From that point, they have lost 7 on the spin. It's just terrifying.
Scary, scary times. I mean, it doesn't matter what team you are. If you're losing out 13-2, let's say, you'd have to be very T-sided. The double op setup coming out. This is the adjustment that we're talking about, right? HellRaisers trying everything and anything to get back into it. They've shifted problem from the B side over towards mid, knowing that NaVi just do not go for this early B play. And yet, he gets tagged up, lit to 33 health, and he has to back off. He has to play over towards the B site now on the ramp. They've had to have a rotate from A to actually play middle to cover off that angle. That's Jane. So both players super, super low here. And the utility still... Okay, nice shot by Problem. There we go. Capacho dealt with. He barely survives that, but he does. That forces NaVi towards the ramp. They don't want to mess with this op. The utility is still decent. They've got 3 smokes to play off of, as well as 2 mollies, a nade. And of course, that flash that's just now popped to allow this engagement where JR falls. So too does Flourish over towards the other side of the map. Here we go. Kalinka, I don't know how he's just pulled back a double kill out of that. Everybody was staring at him. But the problem is, okay, it's a 2v2. Okay, time is against them. But look at the weapons they've got to, or the health they've got to work with. There's practically none. And this is a long rotate. A very long rotate up to the B site. Fear has fallen, and they might have just lost this round because of that. This is a bit crazy, to be honest.
Little bit bizarre, a little bit balmy. Didn't go the way they wanted it to there at all. The HellRaisers getting themselves free on the board, at least the first round NaVi went on. I mean, it might help them somewhat. At least it gives you a bit bigger of a buffer. But NaVi Jr., I don't feel like they're done yet. I don't feel like just off the back of losing that 1 round, they're going to slow down. Straight back into the very aggressive A takes. Topper with the side swipe. He'll peek out, but Kalinka trades it. Ooh, Topper close in the smoke. Eventually going to hit the shot. And they do have an edge. It's a 4 versus 3. Obviously, winning this, it goes 11-3 as well. The chance to have that very dominant half is coming up.
Away for sure. But look at this. Desolation. Everybody on the HellRaiser side just dealt with in a matter of seconds, and this is a clutch you almost need to go for. You almost need to win, but at the same time, look at the money. Better off playing to have a 4th round on the board, as unlikely as it seems. I don't know exactly where problem is, but it doesn't matter. Manisi Ferrari peaks that with confidence. Go 11-3. I mean, this is... It's feeling like commentating a funeral, Jackie. This is... They're already dead. Leave them alone.
It is worrying. Put a fork in them. They're done.
Well, is that what you do at funerals where you're from?
No. Yeah, sorry, I forgot.
Let the gas out.
Conversation. Be quite rough, really, wouldn't it? No, more in the sense of, like, you know, you've cooked yourself a nice steamed bun, maybe.
Jackie's from a cannibalistic family, evidently.
Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is. Because right now we're seeing some cannibals. And they're called NaVi. They're looking ferocious, just tearing HellRaisers to pieces. It is a bit worrying, right? 15th round, 11-3. I feel like based off the buy and some of the plays that we've seen, this should go 12-3. And Fear, he's trying to be the wicked instigator of this, the fire starter himself. Couldn't prioritize the target though, didn't know which one to go for. So they actually picked themselves up 2 kills. Gaspardo has to trade it with 1 quick flick on to Kalinka, but they cross back and they're picking up some of the guns. They can scavenge these and actually have a bit more firepower to work with now.
Better late than never, right? I mean, I don't know if it applies in Counter-Strike. I don't think it does. If you're that far behind. You never know. Maybe this is what they needed. 3 FAMAS still remaining. Smoke down for the ramp. Going to at least open up a little bit of space. And if you're NaVi Jr. right now, pushing through that smoke is the only option. 20 seconds remaining. It's time to blitz and problem. Well, he's going to be the problem for NaVi Jr. He picks up the first. He's shut down right after. Swing through. Manisi. He's got the space. And he might just have found the plant as well. He has the cover. 2v2. They're trying to shut him down, but they can't get there in time. Good shot. And James, he was way too aggressive. I think that seems to be a consistent theme across this game. James just loves to run at people, screaming, and then die almost every single time. And the confidence misplaced. And that one there, I'll accept it. Oh, jeez, what a nice little tap. But that round there, I think he made the right play. If he shut down the bomb planter, the round's won. But risk reward, sometimes it doesn't pay off, and this time it certainly didn't. 12-3 at the halftime, and I think HellRaisers are just about ready to go on to the next map as it is.
They've been put to bed, haven't they, really? Like, tucked in, good night, give me a little kiss. Very much, though. Of course. Come in with the odds. If you want to get involved, if you want to bet on a game, you always can. That is down below. If you want to use the banner. But the banner of NaVi being flown very high here. 12 rounds. Looking for a fast 13th as the quick peek comes out. Topper going to face from the elevated angle. Looks to open this one up, but actually falls back. Playing on site, ready with the USP. Sees a couple of heads, tiny little heads coming round the corner. Lots of smokes being used as well, blocking off the lines of sight and forcing the rotate out. But they've not fully rotated yet. They weren't 100% sure if this was going to be a major committal, but now off that, knowing that the bomb's gone down, everyone will flood back over. And NaVi are playing for the full 5-man retake.
Well, here we go. Time ticks away. They waited a bit. Good flash to start it. Fear able to capitalize off his own. Manici, oh no. Oh no, Jackie, look how quickly it's fallen apart. Flowers is able to at least pick up a double, but Fear closes this one out. The defuse, more than enough time to get it done. Oh man. Of all the rounds, I mean, look, we talk, yeah, the T side, they plant, they lose, they're in a better economic position, but when you're 12-3 down, there's none of that. There's none of, oh, they're set up better for the rest of the half because they needed that round. They needed to get off to a solid start, and now that's not possible. Full rifles for NaVi Jr. Utility is waning, but they're up against a force by HellRaisers. If they lose this round, it's over and it's done.
That's a scary factor, right? Is yes, you got money, but money is no longer the commodity. Rounds are. You need these rounds, and they just don't have access to them. NaVi Jr. 13 built up. In terms of the buy, yes, it is quite close. Obviously, gun skill going to play a major factor. And Gaspardo going to be an even bigger aspect of the round. He'll find the first with a FAMAS. This is just feeling like it's the NaVi show. Kill feed constantly. Chock-a-block full of blue names. And they're leaving HR feeling quite blue about how this opening map has gone. Topper with the rotate as well. Prime with the FAMAS. The smokes are coming in. Reacts with the counter flash of his own to try and gain control back. But they're not round yet. They're only teasing it. Now walking in. He peeks. Gets one. How is he allowed to get 2 frags off the back of this? There's no trade against the 3 men that were there. When he falls, they trade rapidly. Doing it right. NaVi Jr. 14th. It's in the palm of their hands.
They've got it and they're closing the palms, right? They're turning this into a fist, and HellRaisers are getting crushed in the midst of that. Bomb down, 2 players watching it. Good luck dealing with this one. Gaspa, oh, he's having a rough time spraying that FAMAS like it's an M4. But he gets there eventually, or rather his teammate does. Surprised he wasn't looking for an upgrade there at the floor. Pick up the scout, the way that one went. But 14-3 either way. Yeah, this is just map 2. And we knew coming into this is not where HellRaisers would thrive. We said it, map veto massively favored NaVi. But really, Jackie, I was hoping they'd get a little bit more than this done. The problem for me is, like, you lose 16-3 or anywhere in that ballpark, good luck smiling coming into the next map. It's tough. Oh, jeez. They tried to deagle peek down towards the bottom of B, and they just get absolutely smashed in a lineup. Obviously, no armor to play with here, so for the most part, you do expect this to be one-sided, but HellRaisers would like at least a pick out of it. At least a chance.
God. HellRaisers looking like a massive can of tuna here. They're just having their tops taken off. It's not good. Flairage will be the last one to go down. That's the 15th round as they make it to match point. This is their map pick. We did think it would be NaVi favourable, but I didn't expect the 15th to 3. I wonder if Parry Match did. If you did, you can always bet, of course, if you have a look through the link that is down below. NaVi Junior looking to try and send HellRaisers down below here into the 19th round, though. 16 is what they're looking for. They need one more round, and that will then move us on to Train. NaVi have only ever played Train officially on HLTV with this roster once before. So it's still quite curious to see how this series is going to go, but I think you're right, mentality-wise, HellRaisers, they're going to be in a world of pain if this gets shut down 16-3.
Well, it might be 16-4. That's the upside here, Jackie, if we want to be positive about it, because HellRaisers seem to be putting up a bit of a fight in this round. Let's see that fall apart, as Kappa is good for the first. Eliminates problem. Nade down bottom ramp, going to do some damage. JR now just 20 health. Flairage is in position. Might catch the CTs off guard, but they spotted his shoulder and shut him out right away. Everybody's low on the CT side. This is winnable, but the shot, the headshot to Kalinka. Oh, this is tragic if they lose this one. JR, quick to find the frag, but shut down after. Is his teammate leaving JR all by himself, up in hand, looking for the 2 kills. There's a player up in the smoke. He's one hit. Hell, if they just sneeze on him, he's going to be going down. And it looks like that might be what happens. Quick swing by Fear, 16-3. And HellRaisers, they might as well just have stayed in bed this morning because they have gotten nothing done. What a disaster. And how many rounds in a row was that, actually? Let me go look at the live thing. That's insane. And NaVi, they lost. They went 3-2 at one point. From 3-2 to 16-3. Gotta say, I'm unimpressed by what I just saw from HellRaisers. I think even past their comfort on the map, decision-making was terrible at times, throwing away advantages again and again. And you can't say, oh, well, that's because they don't know Vertigo, because that's just a fundamental part of Counter-Strike.
It is. You know, it's part of the basic map pool now. Everyone plays it. It's got comfortable. It's rough. That really is rough. They just had a good seeing to there from NaVi. And, I mean, that's the first map in the best of 3. If that's the way they're going to open things up, can they even recover and look comfortable on Train?
Ugh, I mean, there's only one way to find out, and that's to jump over there. I'm sure HellRaisers are going to want a little bit of breathing time, and hell, we'll take the same. We'll be back here in a little bit with map number 2 between these 2 teams, and we'll see NaVi take it to... NaVi try to take Train. We'll see how that one goes. Be back in a few.
Headshot, nice. Fist bumps go to the teammates. Headshot. Nice. Fist bumps go to the teammates.
I wanna hear your go, go, go. I wanna see you rolling fast. Win the round. Win the game.
Pretty much. They play, you win.
Well, the train's pulling out the station as we're ready to go for map number 2. The first was, well, it was a quick stop, an unexpected one, as NaVi, we thought they would win map 1. We didn't think that they would decimate HellRaisers, and now we move on to the HellRaisers map choice of train, where hopefully, things are going to look at least a little bit better, because 16-3 after being, what, 3-2 down, it's not a good look at all for HellRaisers.
It's not. It's a worrying position to be in. We kind of spoke about it a little bit during the map in the sense of, are they even going to have confidence or energy coming off the back of that, fresh into the train? Like, yes, it's your map pick, but you've just been absolutely served. So in terms of keeping your head held high, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for them. Hopefully, at least, the big boon they have is the fact that NaVi have only ever played train officially on HLTV one other time. So, that's a 100% loss rate, basically, which, with a sample size, you never know how much that'll actually ring true when we get into the game. But even after a 16-3 victory for NaVi Jr., Parry Match do favour HR a lot based off the history. So you got to think, hopefully, there should be more of a story for them here.
Yeah, there absolutely should be. But I think a lot of this is because for NaVi Jr., as you were saying earlier, Jackie, they've only played once with this full 5 roster on this map. So maybe there's a little bit of uncertainty there. And it's hard to really hedge your bets on a team when you don't fully know how they're going to play coming onto the map. The problem for me is that if HellRaisers have anywhere near the level of holes in decision-making that they did in that previous map, they don't stand a damn chance. And we saw it so many times. There were so many decisions in which, especially James, was just running head first into a meat grinder, like extending into full deagles, swinging wide on ramp, take a 1vx fight. And these sort of things, it's fundamental to Counter-Strike. It's nothing to do with the map itself. When you're making those kind of mistakes, it does not paint a pretty picture. Now, maybe that was just because they're uncomfortable with the map that they thought, hey, let's go crazy, let's play individually. Maybe they were so far behind that they just stopped really focusing. Coming into the next map, this is where I want to see all that out the window. I want to see a completely different face to HellRaisers if they're going to have any chance of overtaking NaVi. Because to be honest, after that performance, I'm favoring NaVi going into map number 2.
Me too. Me too. I think even though, obviously we don't really have the history or the benchmarks for it, I see no reason why they can't 2-0 this based off what they had shown us on the first map. I mean, Vertigo, they absolutely smashed it, went out there, they were swinging, we're hitting some really big shots. Modesty as well, impressive. We were talking about how he's a hot prospect, very, very good, talented. For a 15-year-old, incredible natural skill ceiling. So hopefully we get to see some more of him flexing his muscles here into the second map. Already aggression out towards B. The T's teasing this one. Just sat on the outskirts. Couple of peeks coming in, few bullets exchanged, little bit of blood spilt, but no one being slain.
Not yet, Jackie. Not yet, but just wait. HellRaisers, east side. They look to just blitz down onto the A site by the looks of things. They've got lots of control. They're going back to watch for any sort of a rush down Ivy. And they've caught Gospa. This is where you can shift the pace and look for a B hit, but they're still not. They're not tempted to hit that accelerator just yet. I like this. Now, what we had was, or what we have more so, is Flourish watching for any push in through T main. And I think they presumed with that kill that they found, you will either see an Ivy or T main push. But for NaVi, due to the positions they were in, they were playing this faster rotate, that they had heavier presence around connector. They're happy to play a more passive style. Now, though, the pressure is on because they've really got to push into this site now that they've lost Flourish. For HellRaisers, your only opportunity is to blitz the site. And that problem that evolves from there is you don't really have information. You don't have the time to fully clear all of these angles. And that's where someone like Monisi, caught in the backlines, could, well, he could be a thorn in your side if JR wasn't smart enough to check that through the smoke.
Yeah, shutting him down. And taking away a lot of the stock that NaVi Jr. could have had into this round. Fear with a peek. Not looking as clean. Couldn't actually get the shot off with the USP. Pressure being applied back to bomb train and the trades are coming in quick, but they're all being dropped and the CTs will die. Giving the round up to HellRaisers. A slow, grueling one. They took it bit by bit. Played with time, played with the advantage, played it out. They do get the opening pistols. They come into their map pick at least with the first foot forward in a good position. The buyback from NaVi, though, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking this screams like the sort of round where Gosper gets out there, hits a couple of tags, softens them up, and the Deagles just find their way to victory.
Now look at NaVi Jr. They're very spread out again with the Deagles, with the Scout. You can afford to play this kind of way. The Scout, kind of surprisingly, playing towards the B site. I think typically you'll be around connector with that, but Gospa is the deepest into B. He's looking for any sort of heaven presence, excuse me. That smoke pretty much cancels out anything that he can do. Well, is he going aggressive with that Scout? He's running up. He's going to just be pushed on. Quick shot gets one. They could never really expect that kind of a play. Another comes through for Capaccio. And we're down to a 3v3. This is winnable. The Deagle's already floating back into the B site as the bomb goes down. There's not really too much flank play. It's Kalinka watching the back. And with Kalinka being one hit and Flourish double to the body, this... Oh, no! He gets shot from above. Okay, back down to the 2v2. Both players, Heaven and Ramp. And NaVi Jr. moving forward. No kits in play. Range duel. That's always going to favor the Deagle. But the tags getting hit up there. Should be more than enough. Yeah, they've cut off that player. Topa's 1 HP. Nice easy closeout to the round as Topa just tries to make it as costly as possible.
Ooh.
One. He has no time, but at least he's managed to find that extra frag.
Yeah, I mean, like, not awful. You think about it, really. HR, yes, you take the round and you got the bomb down, but that is with only one player surviving. All a bit awkward, all a little bit messy. They're taking a tactical pause straight off the back of that as well. So instantly realizing that they need to have a bit of a chin wag about what's going on because the cash is all over the shop, really, isn't it? It's not the dream scenario for them. So they're trying to figure out what exactly the buy should be going forward and how they need to play this next round. NaVi Jr., again, forcing back in as they will reinvest. MP9, Scout, Famases. You got a few bits and bobs. But based off the buy, it does seem like there should be an edge for HellRaisers. And again, that's where Parimatch is taking this. The 1.35 to the 3. Getting tight, Tom. I've done it again. Mitch, I'm still living in Tuesday, man. I don't know what it is. It's like, you know when you just slip in and you forget where you are?
Yeah, no, that happens. That happens to me all the time. What condition?
What a logistical nightmare.
Oh, no, it happens. Look. It's so
mate.
early in the morning, 1 p.m. I'm usually still asleep at this point, Jackie, I'll be honest.
Well, yeah, we're night owls, you see. We're nocturnal animals.
I've had to change that now, getting a puppy. It's messed up my life.
True.
I'll have to get him on the Chinese sleep schedule that I live on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you get him to transition over, then both of you can be awake at night. It'll be fine.
Exactly. My girlfriend will love it. But here we go. Gospa, he's going to see what he can get done. Scout in hand. Push coming out of Heaven. He hears the steps. He gets the shot through the smoke, but that's all he's good for. Shut down right afterwards, and this force buy, this full buy, really, I think I call it more a force for NaVi. Doesn't really seem to net them a whole bunch. The flash through. Good, well timed with the smoke. Excuse me, smoke fade, but HellRaisers can't really, or aren't overextending. They're not giving NaVi the opportunities. So this will be just closed out. With NaVi looking to save their weapons, and they should do so successfully. There will be, what, Flowerage and Kalinka can afford to go out and hunt because they have the Mac 10s. Try to earn that extra little bit of cash.
Yeah, and good stuff, obviously, from HellRaisers. Like, you needed to get into the game and have a good start because Vertigo was just abysmal. They weren't really finding anything. Confidence was at an all-time low into a lot of the gunfights. Some of the only rounds they won were from clutches at the start of the game and then never again. So it was spooky. At least here, you've got the first 3 rounds. You got the groove on a little bit. You're hitting your shots. It's looking way better. Still some close rounds, but definitely stepping in the right direction. JR getting an AWP as well. Gosh, not great though for NaVi. I mean, that's the scary prospect. Is it feels like you need a man like Espada on the AWP. You need Manizi to get into a position where he could start fragging. With the cash not being there and the constant investments that are coming back out, where it's always been a little bit off, it worries me. If they don't get a start soon, it feels like this could spiral out of control. You concede sort of 5 or 6 rounds. Ooh, it would be an awkward one. This is an awkward fight as well, but Capital trades it back.
Pulling the back into the 4v4, gets aggressive, steals a rifle away as well. The upgrades are there. Now for NaVi, they've got control, they've got Ivy, they've got upper B as well, and pulling back out of it and conceding it with just the single man. Oh, the nade as well, that was weird. We saw on the mini-map it going out. What we've also seen is Manizi going out of the round, nice and early. James hitting that headshot, Kalinka ready to swing, catches one, doesn't know about the second though, so the trade is good. And a 2 versus 1 to win for JR. With the AWP, it's difficult to force these fights. You can be traded on so easily, but the thing that he has in his advantage is that they don't know where he is. And they haven't got the bomb down either. Remember, he has that. They can't group up, meaning that he can find 1 kill and then look for a second. There's the first 24 health left in the tank. 1 hit. Each of these players basically has an AWP. The difference is Capaccio's got much more to do with it, much more movement and range. HellRaisers need the plant. They need it soon. But for JR, he's pushing forward. He drops down. That's heard. Oh, well, that's just a disaster. He gambled every angle he cleared, and the one that he gambled on is exactly where Capaccio was set.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's that's unfortunate. So unlucky. He thought you baited him out. He thought he could get the quick rotate off, thinking he was smart. Run straight into him, his back turn. Gets pummeled. Hello, hey Jar. Hello. They are certainly being a little bit hellish for some of the plays, but they do have deagles this time around. Bro, man, you would have thought that airstrike would have actually done more damage, Mitch. That was like 4 nades committed to middle there. All the HEs coming into main. Got him low, but couldn't actually finish him off. At least they will be able to use the MP9 to capitalize off the back of the early damage. So first frag going the way of NaVi. Kappa Chow. He's looking for the close contact. He'll drop the Molotov and then can play back. Ooh.
This is where I'll start to worry for NaVi if they lose to Deagles in this sort of position. Especially on a map like Train, you don't expect to lose to this kind of a buy, right? The threat is inner. If they go towards B and they open that up, it's sort of acceptable. But on the A side, there's so many ranged fights that you can take. It's difficult to throw that one away. But of course, the Deagle's one-shot ability can be scary at times. With 50 seconds left, lots of Deagles moving in towards the A side. Fear has a safety net to his left. His teammate is covering for the pop dog drop down, but he's tagged up wise. The second he gets tagged, dinked through the wall, luckily, so it doesn't take him down. He just falls back, bails out of that fight. His weapon is far too valuable to throw away alongside his armor. Well, his teammate Topa is maintaining control, but lit down to 33 himself. Makes it very difficult. So he pulls back, allows that problem to drop down, and quickly deals with it. 3-2 for NaVi. They've picked up the round they needed to, but they're up against rifles now, so things do change a little bit. Luckily, for HellRaisers, they can't even afford an AWP, so in terms of the range duels, it should still favor Gospa, and they have an MP9, but for Topa, holding down and Pop Dog with an MP9 is perfectly viable.
Topper with the MP9 might get a chance to use it early on here. Ooh, a lot of damage done onto Fear, but he survives. Actually getting the flick off Getting the kill as well. So again, first kill for NaVi. They're winning out on the opening duels. They're starting to get into the groove a little bit onto their CT sides. So one of the very few times we've seen an AWP at all, because the economy's been in such a dire strait. They've been forcing out on basically every round. They hate having an eco. And this time, at least the economy's grown enough to let him get that big green gun out. He's waiting on B. He could have first contact here and actually get an opening shot off. If Problem drops in, it feels like he should be a sitting duck.
When you're saying about hating taking egos, that's the CIS for you, just in general. But somehow they tend to make deagle buys work more than anyone else in the world. Maybe it's because they're so used to playing with them. For NaVi, they don't want to have those deagle buys. They don't want to be forced down to it. And they won't be if they lose this round. They'll still have money, but man advantage, you don't want to throw this one away. One man B hold, a little bit of utility thrown out to try and fake it, but it doesn't seem to be working. HellRaisers still running into a full stack defense on A. Topa swinging around the back of the train, good for a double. And Fear, oh, well, he's actually dealt with. It's now down to just 1 versus 2, but the problem is, he's 3 HP. It should be so easy to deal with this guy. You've got a nice little flank angle as well. Good crossfire. They spotted going to the site. Here's the swing from Pop Dog and the finisher to the round. 3-3. NaVi tie it back up. Remember, though, they want to pick up the majority of the rounds on the CT side. They're currently tied. So it's not time to take your foot off the gas pedal at all. You got to push on. Now being up just against an eco, I expect this to be where they probably go for a 2-man stack early to B. The chances are you'll see a faster rush down that B ramp on a round like this. And in fact, you're even seeing a Glock in play for James. Like, 0 invested for him and very little for the rest of the team.
I just haven't got the money for it. Minerals aren't there.
Why do you not go for any utility here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got 2 P250s. You're better off having Glocks and smokes there.
Yeah, true. You could have made a play off the back of it. Might have given you an edge instead. Fancying the chances with a little bit more firepower. But NaVi, they're looking far better. Obviously, armed to the teeth for the CTs. They can just hold. Try and fend you off. Put up a bit of a blockade. Smoke's going out. Blocking Pop Dog. They're going to try and boost over it. And see if they can see anyone on top of the trains. Take some pot shots at them. This really is just going to be a firearm range soon. The last minute execution coming out. As you said before as well, there's no utility, so it's not as if they can instigate this from a flash. They just have to go in. Contact has come in. Everyone tries to flood their way out. There's a P250 connection onto at least the header topper, and JR does one better as well, following it up onto Fear. But Gaspada, he's ready. Watching the angle. Misses the flick, though. This is a little bit interesting, Mitch.
Yeah, that could be crucial. That missed flick opens up a lot of space for these pistols to close in the distance. And when easy, well, he takes matters into his own hands with a quick little double. Says enough is enough. There we go. Dealt with, done with, 4-3. Interestingly, 4-3 is the exact KD that we have for Uneasy. Every time he dies, they lose a round. Is it a thing? Apparently. And look at the parry match odds. They've swapped up a little bit. It looks like now NaVi are favorite to win the map, whereas coming into the map, HellRaisers were the favorite. Interesting, considering that the scoreline at the moment, I think, is actually decent for HellRaisers.
It is, yeah, I guess. Parry match just favouring them, thinking that maybe this is going to start to develop and bloat a little bit like we saw back on the previous map, the first in the series, where NaVi just ran away with things. Fear trying to run away there, but can't. Struck down as he'll drop. Chopper trades it back and at least is able to undo some of the early damage that's been established here from HellRaisers. He's also got backup of Munacy, another AWP brought out this time. It was the double AWP setup. Munacy with one of them, Topper, holding out as well towards Pop Dog, trying to get information for the rest of his teammates that are bolstering the defenses of B. Gaspada's rotated over there. Looks like he's watching upper, and you've got lower control for Capuchao.
Oh, well, look at this. Blood flowing towards the B side. They haven't cleared the spools. It's going to cost them. Capaccio, good for the final 2 to close it out. 5-3. NaVi keep the ball rolling. No plan for HellRaisers, which means more than likely no buy. And that's going to be a tough one for them, not having the money to invest. But if you have money to invest, you might want to head over to Hellcase and get 15% off your refill with the code you're seeing on screen. You can just click the banner down below to head on over there. Interesting fact as well. Well, actually, hold on. Let's put a pause on that. HellRaisers have invested into a hero rifle, which is a Galil, but full utility. Look at that. They've got so much to work with. And this is where the B-site's under threat. I think Apache is about to have his biggest early round test that he's had so far.
Yeah, pressure about to be applied to him. Is he going to buckle under the weight? The 5 terrorists that are just lurking right outside his sight, armed to the teeth with pistols at least. And he just said that. One Galil as well that will be striving for greatness, or at the very least, a bit of gore. Molotov dropped. Denies the entry. Catch out as well. Literally just decapitating them. Flareage will at least pipe back up and do something to try and slow this down. It is a 4 versus 4. Tight angles being taken. Topper not hitting that. And they're crumbling. Off the back of having one rifle, they're scavenging more. They're getting more and more firepower the longer this round goes on. And it's got a limited time on it, an expiry date. That's when the bomb detonates. Game will be slain. As Monasty's able to hit the shot with the M4. We're down to a 3v3. Retake possible. Is it actually going to happen?
Oh, the spam of the smoke doesn't catch the player, but here we go. Quick as can be. Problem left alone with a deagle. He finds 1, but he's got to find 3. There's the second, looking for the 3rd, but the shot is connected. Fear out of time and out of the game. That is HellRaisers with a phenomenal force buy, full utility coming into the round, and they walk out with the win, 5-4. Massive work. I really like the decision there to go for so much utility, because they could have gotten extra Galils out. They could have gotten 5 Galils and light armor, but instead they said, screw it. Let's go for utility, let's go for pistols, and take that fast B play that I've been waiting to see from them. That's exactly what the doctor ordered.
Couldn't have come at a better time as well. They'll be very happy with themselves. The risky investments paying off this time around. 5-4, close first half. HellRaisers still need more, though. We've got 5 rounds to go to decide what this will be looking like. The flick for Gasparda. Bit of an impact. A chest shot, but blocked. 23 damage. Or HP, rather, left on problem. He's got to back up somewhat because of it. Bombs on the back pocket of JR, though. And he's supported just outside of Ivy, so intermittently applying bit of damage here and there, trying to test the waters and see what they can actually get away with. Topper also checking as he'll push close towards the ladder room inside a pop dog. Not finding too much from this though, Mitch.
No, not finding a whole bunch. The opportunities being given away by NaVi are next to none. But Moneasy, well, he might just have opened up one. He's in a position where he can be traded on, but there's only one player up close. Really, this is a waiting game. Who moves first? And it's going to be Kalinka. He's looking to swing around this corner, and the FAMAS wins the fight. There's NaVi losing just 1. Or dropping just 1, I should say. But a second comes in for Gaspado, and here's the push to sight. Oh, he just keeps on going with the op.
Peeking. Hoping to plateau and get them another round, but 20 seconds left for the tease. It's done. It's over. They're trapped. They're being pushed as well. Actually going for a bit of a gamble here to try and force the AKs out of their hands. If possible, slaying them after time would be the most lucrative way to play this. But Fear, he's going in early. Actually hits the headshot, though, to at least kill 1. Drops the flash as well, but he's being chased. And around the corner, he'll tipple over. Even then, you look at it for what it is. It's still around for NaVi. They get 6-4. And they could be getting giddy. If they actually get themselves a big lead on this, get into their groove on the CT side, actually make it a more dominant scoreline, the HellRaisers are going to be struggling, even if they do find their footing on CT. It's just the 1-AWP once more. Gasparda, he's rocking the scope this time. There's been moments of greatness with the AWP, but it's nowhere near been as prevalent as I thought it would be for NaVi. I thought they would actually have a field day with a weapon here on train.
Oh. Speaking of, there's Scospa in with the opening, or rather, a follow-up on the opening. And the problem in this round, again, is always going to be when you've got these pistols and you don't have utility to play around. I'm very surprised at the level to which we're seeing HellRaisers succeed in one force buy with lots of utility used towards the B site to close in the distance, and then a second with nothing. With Deagles, looking for ranged fights versus an op that's already been doing pretty well since that scoped weapon was picked up. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Jackie. This is where, again, I want to see players avoid taking armor, avoid taking the deagle, maybe go for a P250, but have that utility to close in the distance. Even if you're going to go for A, smoke off between the trains, go for those smokes on site. I know you're forcing the fight on whichever player's in Pop Dog or Electric or top of trains, but instead, and even a flash, for God's sake, but they don't like it. They're not fans.
Yeah, not really the biggest fans of it. They're going to be flapped out of the server, though. They're just getting hit hard by the Kalashnikovs. Everyone going to go down. 7-4. They get it. They secure the bag. They keep that one in check. HellRaisers. It was a nice start. Again, it felt like it was actually going to be like a far better game. We were going to see way more. And we have the burst of rounds in the middle. There was a point where we saw 5 rounds back-to-back for NaVi Jr. They concede 1 and now have won another 2 on the trot as well. Looking comfortable. You never want to let this team get comfortable. We saw what happens when they do back on Vertigo. The amount of clutch rounds they were picking up as well. Now they've actually got money to play with. Gaspada's had the AWP comfortably. The rest of the team pretty much entirely on AKs. There's only one M4. You know NaVi Jr. in a good spot.
That they are. I mean, things did start out shakily enough, but for NaVi, aiming for the 9 rounds, and right now they're on target. HellRaisers need this one to stop and deny that from happening and from it possibly even getting better for the CT side. See how things develop. 1 minute left in the clock. Run boost out. Good shot by Manizi. Communication was on point there. He knew what was going down. Even the crosshair placement was just gorgeous. And a 5 versus 4 develops. HellRaisers still looking for the A site. Still wanting to push out here. There's so much to worry about. Manizi unable to catch the player cross and back over, but they still have their eyes trained on Pop Dog and that operator. There we go. Knew it was going to happen. Gospa with the op. He's trained in towards T main, waiting for a player to walk out. Now he's seen them come out, so he swaps over to site, looks on top of the train, and he's not even needed because it's just being cleaned up by the rest of his teammates. Down to a 3v3. Kalinka pushing out of IV. I'm worried. So Toppa was pushed out by the Molotov. He gets caught through the train, and now he's in danger. But he actually spotted Kalinka's leg. He saw him through the gap in the smoke. He's dancing around the site. Whoa, that was Gospa. I thought that was Topa. That would have been nuts. The shot by Gospa again connected. His Zopper is nuts, and the repositioning is ultimately what gives Topa that final kill. 8 rounds on the board for NaVi Jr., and there is just no stopping this team.
Man. All right, NaVi Jr. Actually going against the odds, going against the stats. This is a map that HellRaisers should be pretty hot on. But at the minute, NaVi, they're burning so bright. It's blinding. And they're beating what we expected coming into this as well. Because HLTV, they had only played 1 official on this map. They had lost it previously. This is their 2nd official game. And it looks like it could be a W to balance out the numbers because they're just hitting all of the shots that are necessary. Ruining HellRaisers on every round. Again, looking more and more like Vertigo the longer the game goes on. Yes, HellRaisers have at least caught 1 more round than they did on Vertigo. It doesn't seem like this is going to be another one on top of that. Should be a 9-4. Fairly dominant stuff here from the CTs at this point. As soon as they got cash, as soon as they actually got into a spot where they had weaponry, they've started running over them.
Absolutely steamrolling. And yeah, because again, it was that position where HellRaisers got 3 rounds in the early half, and then they just taper off completely. And as we said, you know, that previous round win pretty much guaranteed a 9th for NaVi Jr. Good trades, always there. Manizi able to take down Flaric for the kill of his teammate. And so James is left alone, even going to the Deagle for that 1-shot headshot. Now that he's not even low HP. So it's interesting that he didn't go for the reload. Perhaps thought the player was quickly on the flank. Either way, 9-4 is where we go. Actually, that could have been kind of smart, to be honest, Jackie, because if you get in a fight with the M4, you're probably going to lose. Your odds are against you because there's 2 other players who can take you down, whereas with the Deagle, you can get that 1-shot headshot, so the odds are a little bit better, as they are for NaVi Jr. in the parry match odds, because they have shifted massively. At the start of this map, they were significantly favoring HellRaisers. Now, 1.33 for NaVi Jr. to take it.
And I feel like I believe it. this point, I'm subscribing to that idea because NaVi look good. NaVi have the double AWP as well. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what weapon he has in his hands. He seems to be a master of all trades. But you give him an AWP, it's effectively a scalpel. Let's see if he can make an incision into the roster of HellRaisers and make it far easier for the CTs to actually pick this up. Holding towards Ivy early on, does smoke it, and we see the move, the reaction play from Kalinka. Topper taking damage over at the barn, though, so a light exchange of bullets being traded from one another. He's fine. He's in a spot where he can still hold, washing towards main. If they do push down Pop Dog, he'll at least get the information and have to make a bit of a hero play. Trying to play around the smoke, actually, as he's opted to go back inside and look straight up the ladder.
Looking for something up there. Perhaps it's a round win. They've been looking for that quite some time and finding them again and again. But this time, HellRaisers, they're able to win it. The totem pole drop and the kill afterwards. A 5v4. A man advantage. Could be the first time we've seen HellRaisers convert a man advantage and keep it there for more than 10 seconds. But with 25 on the clock, it's time to get a move on. It's time to make a move. And they've faked this out perfectly. NaVi think it's the B hit. But hold on. It might not matter because again and again, the shots are connecting. The AWP used by Gospa expertly. 10 seconds left. The bomb is crossing out in the open. Kalinka has to cause a distraction, has to buy his teammates some time, and he does that. He takes down Fear, who'd been boosted up above. A 2v2, a flank coming around through spawn, a player up in heaven. That's always such a hard position to clear out. And look at JR. The timing is godlike. He's coming up behind. The shot already connected to Capacho, which just closed that down. And so Gospa, 1v2. He's been huge. He's been massive. He needs the 3k to close out the round with the AWP in hand. Look, they have the money. He can go for this. There's only one round left, but evidently just doesn't feel like giving them an AWP for free.
Yeah, not wanting to run the risk here on this one. More backup. JR will get the AWP though, so all in all, they still get what they wanted. They only really want the one AWPs. T-side train, you don't want to do anything too wild, so they'll be happy with this, recovering away that weapon. So 9-5, 10-5 scoreline. It's on the cards. NaVi Jr. It seemed like it might have been one of the weaker buys here, but actually, Cash really in a pretty good spot for what effectively is the last round. The only one that's actually down in a kind of timid spot will be Capital, just with a Deagle. Still got tons of utility though, but one kit as well on Gaspada. We'll see if maybe that's an issue if this round takes a little while.
Certainly could be. Oh, well, maybe not so much. If they find the opening duel, then the lack of the kits won't really come into play. You've immediately got yourself an AK upgrade. So no Deagle left. No weaker weapons. HellRaisers, man disadvantage. And as I said, you know what? That previous round was the first time in a long time we'd actually seen HellRaisers find that opening duel, maintain it. Now they're in trouble because they've lost it again. They've got no map control. They've given up everything towards Ivy. Pop Dog's going to be pressured by Jane, but I think that's all just a ruse. They seem to have some preference towards B, and it was just because there was a molly on the floor for him to pick up. So he chucks away the Molotov, grabs another one. Why not? I'll tell you why, because actually JR didn't have a molly, so he could have used that one. That would have been helpful. Then you'd have full mollies to play in the post plans if you get there. But either way, it does sell a little bit of fake info. You've only got one player down towards the B site. The rotates are pretty far away as well. Fear actually just starting to get ahead of the curve and move into position. Gospa now in a very good spot. So a HellRaiser's window is starting to narrow. And as they push forward, the mollies come down from the CT side. Aggressive position out in front of Oil. This is dangerous. And HellRaisers, they were stopped on the ramp, but the message wasn't there for the player in heaven who just ran straight out to his death. Interesting move. Interesting communication. And a very good scoreline for NaVi with 10 on the board at the half.
No, nice. All in all, that's actually pretty sick, bad. Like, winning out the half there in good fashion as well. You get yourself your 10 rounds, more and more akin like Vertigo. Now, T-side, if they get a pistol, this game could be over. That's the scary factor about it, especially when they can set the pace of the game as well. The second they pull out the AKs, all they're going to want is a good quality pistol round. If my mind serves me correctly, I think they've been struggling in the pistols. We've seen most of the pistols being picked up by HR, or at least them being very close. but they tend to bring it back into the weird conversion rounds. We'll have a look, though. We'll take it as it comes. At this point, 2 players pushed up towards Ivy, taking a face in. Early contact. A bit of a wide face there from HellRaisers. So they do create some space. Double peeking together. The Ivy control is certainly eyebrow raising.
Yeah, it's gonna get some question marks in the chat, that's for sure. But now that you're shifting focus, they're no longer looking over towards the Ivy control. They're moving over. I think this is looking like an A hit, right? You've got your utility lined up. Pop Dog drops, so James is going to be the key player. He's got to get some serious work done. That angle's so hard to fight on, right? Because it no longer is it left and right. It's now like spinning in a circle when you're looking straight up, so it's difficult. He drops back to a more comfortable position, but it's not so comfy when this Glock bullet's delivered straight to your head. Hand delivered by Uneasy. Now we come onto the site with a man advantage. Flowers tries to pull it back, but it's Kalinka who's doing a lot of the work. JR, I don't know how none of those shots hits. He's being robbed. In the end, still NaVi Jr. ahead. Look at the HP. Flowers, Kalinka so damn low. The Glocks, it's only a matter of time before one of them comes around the corner and catches the kill, or maybe it isn't, because it's all down to Taupe. A 1v3 range duel with the Glock, never going to be ideal, but he takes down Problem. Both of these players are low, but so is time. 15 seconds remaining. He rushes forward. He knows there's someone close. He deals with him, looking for the final. Over to the USP. 8 seconds. Bomb. Oh, bomb. There we go. Oh, no, he's not got the bomb.
No.
He's lost the round because he failed to pick it up. The swing and the death. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
He ran over it twice, but didn't actually get it. Oh.
He ran over, went back. Ran over, went back. It was just like, oh, come on. Oh, slippery fingers. He'd been eating buttery popcorn. He just couldn't get a grasp on a bomb. It was too slippery. God damn. All right, well, there you go. Wacky pistol. Wacky pistol. Decided by a few errors and a couple of nice shots from the CTs. The CT's getting a boatload of money because of it as well. So we get MP9, the M4 FAMAS, a few bits and bobs brought out to actually work with. Better offensive utility as well. And a couple of smokes to at least delay, buy themselves more time. Nice amount of damage done, distributed across the board for the NaVi players. You can see down at 77, 51, and 49 at the minute for the top 3 respectively. And they're grouping up. Like maybe we're going to have a Wolfpack play here through Ivy.
Could well be. Moving as a unit, moving as a team. Not against it. Not against it at all. The firing squad, though, on the other side have rifles in their hands, and they just completely shut down that triple push. The rest of the team, well, they're late to the party, but it looks like they also want to go to Ivy. Hoping, perhaps, that these players have at least been lit up. That's a nice skin. I haven't seen that one before. Was that from the new operation?
It's new, bro. Yeah, it's fresh.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. What would you say? What? He desperately wanted the pistol. There's the jump across to get it. Deagle in hand. Let's see what we can do. Well, not a whole bunch. Let down to 5 HP. Oh, I spoke too soon. He gets 1. Not the biggest of deals, though.
No, not really. Just a single kill. They'll buy back. They'll reinvest. Talking of buying as well, this is where NaVi looking for their vests on their chests, and they've got their AKs to slay with. Let's see if they can actually start hitting their shots again, though, and of course begin building the scoreline again. It was 10-5 at the half. We've seen HellRaisers come in with 2 back-to-back rounds. JR donning the AWP as well, but it is glass cannon, so he's fragile, but certainly can instigate a nice opening kill if he's able to play the way he wants. He's peeked up aggressively. Nice face, clean kill, gets back, smart stuff.
Big brain plays. It's exactly what you want to see. That up on JR could be instrumental coming throughout this round. Again, though, we're seeing this position being so heavily favored by a lot of these teams. Playing in towards upper, instead of the traditional sort of connector rotate play. But it doesn't seem to matter. You know, they're finding every single kill. I thought there was going to be a peek on upper there. It looks like Gospa wanted to do it, but instead it's actually the CTs pushing it. Gospa gets shot in the back. It's an MP9 that finds that frag, and a 5v2 emerges. NaVi Jr. in a pretty tough spot to try and pull this one back. I think the round is pretty much RIP'd at this point.
Seems like it's kind of over. Don't know what else they can do. NaVi Jr. They'd only ever played this map one other time on HLTV. That was what we were talking about at the start. It was a point that started to look like maybe it was a benefit because obviously they were an unexpected opponent here for HellRaisers and they've been putting up a good fight. Does seem like it's nowhere near as commanding as it once was though. Certainly since they've been on the T side, they've stagnated slightly. They've been more limited by economy as well, off the rounds that they've been losing with how bad they've been getting beat here. And again, they are going to be pummeled as Flairich will get the last kill off. Money broken for once as well. They love a force buy, but it feels like this time around they'll probably be actually smart enough to slow it down, invest lightly, just balancing out the cash across the board, it seems like, and roll with that. Do have the Tech 9 armor on Fierce. Let's see what he's able to find.
Indeed. I don't know. In this kind of round, at least we've seen some utility from NaVi. They've got flashes. I'm always a fan of having those smokes as well to play off of, close in the distances. But James, well, he's doing just that. Versus pistols, this guy loves to get aggressive. He's found himself one, gets dinked up for his trouble and keeps swinging. There's no stopping him unless you put a bullet to his head, and that's what they've done. Again, I really don't think James' decision-making is up to par. This guy just constantly versus these weak buys, he gives away advantages and gives away weapons. He's costing his team much more than he's gaining them in the long run. I just don't get it. Confuses me.
Problem. He might be confusing all three the boys walking through Ivy here as he wants to startle them with the AK. Leave them slain. 2 versus 2 playing towards the site. Pushing out. Oh. They all get hit instantaneously. Both players finished off in the one-on-ones. And HellRaisers getting the game back. Starting to chip away, chisel at the NaVi statue that is before them. That statue, it's got a bit of a second wind in the form of 4 AKs and a single AWP on Gaspada. Gaspada's AWP, it's been pretty good throughout the day so far. He's had some tasty little shots at times. So let's see if he can do it a bit more. Coming in now on the T side, if he can instigate them an opening pick, it'd be huge to see what effect that would have on rounds that are now starting to slowly favour the CTs.
T-side's always tougher to get the ball rolling on, though. We had the expression before that the T-side is like an oven, whereas the CT is a microwave. One you can just put in the food, click it, it's good to go. The other, you gotta warm it up a little bit. You gotta excite it, entice it, figure out what your opponents are doing. And once it's hot, then you're cooking. For NaVi Jr., they're yet to hit the required temperature. For me, Gospa, T-side opping, we'll see what he's going to be able to deliver, because he was instrumental in the CT defense. Can he do the same? Can he be that linchpin for the attacking side? What's interesting about this one, actually, is that HellRaisers have gone for a 3-man stack on B, evidently suspecting there to be heavier presence there. And the problem is, because they've pushed into team main, if they overextend on this, they're going to run straight into a player hiding up above, waiting for them. On top of the... what do you even call that? Big dumpster. Can't remember the word.
Tip. Or a skip.
Skip. There we go.
Skip.
That's the word. Well, they're skipping on through to the site because Fierce found himself a quick double. The op up behind. He's given an opportunity. The player's able to sneak on out. Problem. Trading out his teammate, but it might not be enough. They need to get all the kills at 2 versus 2. Bomb faked. Swing there. Topa gets the frag. And it's all down to JR. For a second there, I think Gospa thought the round was over.
Yeah,
he just took his knife out. But the swing! JR's got it, but he's in the molly, and he's out 23 HP. The problem is, he's up against an opper, so that health probably won't really matter.
Oh, he's nearly burnt. He's got himself quite fragile. He's going to jump on a bomb. He is just defusing it. He does need to peek. He's not peeking. He's just defused.
God. And that's the most demotivating way to lose a round.
What?
This guy just sticks the bomb in the open and you lose to it.
What? What are these rounds? We've had some really bizarre rounds on train. You're going to be kicking yourselves. If you're NaVi, that was your chance to get into the game as well, give yourself a lead. Now, finally, again, the game is tied. For quite some time, it has been the NaVi show, but now we're back to square one. First to 16 is what we're looking for. 6 rounds away for either of these two teams here. As we go into the 21st, we'll see what the next play is going to be. Paranoia for fear. As they're living in his head rent-free, making him think that someone had snuck up and gone for a backstab.
This is where, if you're NaVi Jr., it's now time to show up. There's no more room to sit back and feel comfortable, feel happy with where you're at. It's now or never, really, because for HellRaisers, they're going to hit 12 if they win this. All right, NaVi will be forced down to an eco. Oh, that's close, but Fear wins it just about. Smoke out. But again, HellRaisers, they love this three-man stack on B. We saw it in just the previous round. This time it's without any further aggression on A, but that gamble, it might just pay off. JR, he's caught outside. Another molly goes through. It lands in the smoke. This is an opportunity now because they can push out without having to worry all too much. The tags on the JR are there. He isn't able to return the damage. Oh, the nade on his head. The molly forcing him back into con, or actually out into the open. But the smokes, they've blocked his retreat, or his further attack. Look at this position for Munizi. He's a key player. They've got a man advantage, so he's expendable in this position. All he has to do is buy time and maybe a kill. And in fact, that's not even necessary because HellRaisers, because they've taken so much damage in the rounds they'd won, they're forced to take the save now, giving NaVi the lead back.
Giving up the goose, getting out of there and saving. As you say, that is the lead returning once again for naughty NaVi that are starting to steal away the game. Of course, it all starts with this first move. You take away this one. Now, chipping away at the amount of rounds you need, knocking it down to just 5 more to go. It was a 16-3 on the first map of Vertigo. That was their map pick, and they devastated HellRaisers. Here, it's been closer. A lot more back and forth. NaVi struggling since they got onto the T side as well. It hasn't been anywhere near as clean as it was with CT play. And even that took some going to actually get into it. Give them a few rounds to get their buyout and make it look nice. Now on the T side into the 22nd, what is the play going to be? Aggressive move towards Ivy early on. Again, JR with the quick faces. He's done this once before. They mollied it to try to stop him this time. He just stands and fights through the fire and flames, being knocked down to 25, but still fragging.
120 on the clock, plenty of time for NaVi. They don't need to feel pushed into making a decision, but it looks like they are going to go for this site. Now you've got Topa setting up a molly that's going in towards this site, blocking off the player up on top of the train, but Kalinka's got a further back angle, looking for them up above the smoke, but that only covers if they go into CT. They're pushing forward. They're going to come through the smoke.
There you go. Scoreline being brought back 11-11 as it will be tied up on the 23rd round. Keeping it close with how it's been played at this point. It's good stuff to see. Early utility being used as well from NaVi to actually get out their smokes to try and take the A side control. A lot quicker here. Munizi with the first frack. He'll get the flick off onto Kalinka. Put him to bed with the AWP. Side swipe as well. Gaspada. Ooh, not cleaning up too easily against Lion there. There'll be the trade back from Flareage, and we do fall into the 4 versus 3. Minute and 27 seconds left on the clock. A lot of time for the CTs. Not a lot of lives. That's actually quite rough. The backstab onto Flareage as it will be able to land in the butt for him. And then JR in a 1v4, slowly making his move down the stairs. Wandering his way away So NaVi straight back in, cleaning up with a round. Looks like it should be a 12.
Oh, Jackie.
Hello, mate. You all right?
That was odd.
You lag out.
Just on TeamSpeak for some reason my connection disconnected. So I was here chatting away to myself, going, "Geez, Jackie's awful quiet. I think he's passed out." But there we go.
Yeah,
I cancelled the ambulance. Didn't want to be waiting another 3 hours for one. We know how that goes.
They never come.
They never do. They never do. No matter how close you are to the hospital.
No, yeah.
We've been there. We've been
Or
there.
if your legs are broken.
I know, that's because some person kept saying they were sprained. That was all. So
Yeah, true.
wouldn't listen. But anyways, enough about our past experiences with morons. 12-11. NaVi, they're in the lead. They're flying ahead. And I did like, that previous round, I think it was Topa, right? It was in the clutch, and he was left in a 1v3. It's so much to do. And he played it really well. Just, there was no way to win it. There was one pop, there was one spawn, there's one sight. What can you do? You can't do anything in that position. Too much crossfire with 20 seconds left. But this one here, going 12-11 for NaVi. They've got the lead again. Oh, no! The push up close. The flash completely blinds him. Everything about that was perfect, and they're out of there with the op. That is highway robbery. Double op setup now for the CT side. What a play, man.
Yeah, they have just been, done by the highwaymen, haven't they?
I've never seen someone take a fight like that when easy, just up, down, spraying.
God. Straight around the corner. Just give it. Alright, well. I mean, NaVi, yeah, you lost that AWP straight away. You've given it over to Problem. That could become an issue. Could be a massive thorn in the side. They also need to realise as well, there's a player right by them, Flareridge. If he peeks out, looks over the bomb train, he should have the angle onto Topper. He will. There's enough damage, but it isn't a frag. Just merely a bit of a tag that comes out. Double AWP save going to be the question? Ooh, flick from Problem. Hits one onto Topper. And it does seem like they want to try and clutch onto both of these sniper rifles. But the scoreline itself, now getting into the danger zone, right? This will be a 13th round guaranteed for NaVi. If HR lose both of these AWPs, I'm worried about them.
You have to be. You absolutely have to be. But it doesn't look like they're going to be losing them. Not for now. Does look like they'll lose one of them.
Oh, yeah.
AR just got shut down in the open, and look at that. It was 1.33, now 1.3. NaVi gaining more and more favor as time goes on. And the game gets that little bit closer, but a little bit closer to victory for NaVi Jr. as well. Parry match favoring them, and if you're not, well, you know where to go to capitalize on those odds, because they are firmly in NaVi's favor right now.
Well, they are indeed. The odds have been dumped. You need to get over that and make the most, because NaVi are just ruining HellRaisers. 13-11, cleaning up, obviously, the buy for HellRaisers because they lost those weapons as well. We're only clutching onto the one AWP rather than the two, means making a big hero play is going to be harder. You're not going to make anywhere near as much as a ruckus. They basically just given JR free reign of the A site and asked him to lock it down with the AWP as the solo hero. The rest of them, they've bolstered B just with the pistols, but they're going to be overwhelmed. The unrelenting force of NaVi's pulling into the station soon. They've got so much utility to keep them blind, dazed, and confused, but the 5-7 from the elevated angle slamming down into the head hitbox does at least clean up one. Trade's coming back in though. 4 versus 3 as Topper hits the second as well. Lovely follow-up shot. Bomb should be going down, but he's ready. Paranoid about the push from Oil. JR bested by the Orphic Espada. They get the round, making the most of it. 1 away from match point. That would be series point as well. 2-0 could be there for NaVi, and NaVi would move on to fight Movistar Riders.
This is huge. Huge right now. With 14-11 on the board, NaVi Jr., as you said, they're one step closer to fighting Movistar Riders. They've got the full buy, the final full buy underway. Look at this aggression by Fear. He's just rushed out when Easy picked off trying to follow, but Fear's made it all the way down to Green Train. This is where he could completely catch them off guard. They don't expect it. Kalinka hasn't got a clue. He's spraying away, but Fear gets caught. Flareridge checks the corner, and Kalinka sees his life flash before his eyes, realizes he was just moments away from death. So too are some of these CTs, with Topa coming out for 1, for 2. He knows there's another in spawn. He could pull this round back all by himself, but he forgot about Flareridge, who had taken down his teammate just a little bit earlier. He should have feared him, but he didn't, leaving Gospel at 1v3. And with an op in hand, he has plenty of time. But, oh, they are giving them the opportunities. They're looking for these fights. At this point, I expect them to group up and play the sides together. But instead, they're all on different angles, offering 1v1s.
Can he capitalize on them? The sniper with a hell of a scope, looking to take out a cop or two, finds the first flick onto JR. Shuts him down. Up the ladder, baits in the shot, hits the no-scope as well. Off the ladder, actually tag problem. Oh, mate, he knows exactly where the last man is as he pushes out towards the site. He's paranoid about someone dropping down the ladder and chasing him from behind. So instead, he slowly starts to shut up the gap and get himself close towards Bomb Train. 20 seconds on the timer, flanking his way around. If he hits this, it's winnable. Goes into the 1v1. Problem, 3 HP, has to push down soon. Bomb will be planted. All of the odds are against the CTs now. Gaspada, 33 HP, jumping up, exposing himself, spots him out, hits the shot, and he's done it. 15 to 11. That is madness.
Insane. I mean, look, if anything is to define whether you win the round or not, win the game, excuse me, that round right there is it. That was unbelievable for Gaspa, isolating every single one of those fights, winning ones that he had absolutely no right in. It's just disgusting. It really and truly is filth. But with that under his belt, 15 to 11 we go. HellRaisers down in the dumps. Their money is not there. They can't afford a proper buy. Look at their utility. On a map like Train, they haven't got ops to play long range. They haven't got utility to deny ranged fights. They haven't even got M4s to take those duels. They're on the FAMAS ×4. NaVi Jr., 4 chances to close this out. Plenty of cash. T-side, money's rolling. So are NaVi, because this is looking like it's going to be the series from hell for HellRaisers.
Yeah, it feels like it. The brimstone's certainly burning them right now because there is nothing that can be done. Wow. I mean, you're left with FAMASes, a scout, and 2 flashbangs. That is it. It's going to be a flash in the pan for the series for them as it will be done in the blink of an eye. NaVi win this round 16-11. That'll be a 16-11, 16-3 series. Both maps being won by them as they thrash them on Vertigo. And they've clearly got a first-class ticket to fight Movistar Riders here that they can have stamped if they get this next round. Smoke's going in towards the B site as well to make the execution. Manizi charges in, and he wants to make this look so simple. If he can get the backstab off, his teammates will do it with a full frontal assault. We're already down to 3 players remaining for HellRaisers, and this is looking grim.
It absolutely is. The FAMAS ×2, the scout as well. But Manizi's position, he's been here before. That was giving away his position, and he's not going to get the kill. But the trade is there immediately. Gaspa on range, looking for another victim. Fear dealt with a 2v2. It's starting to pull back for HellRaisers, but they've still to deal with Gaspa. He has been the savior of the game so far, and he's coming through with more. Catching one. Might be left to 1v1 in a second. Jane almost capitalizes on Capaccio, but he can't get it done. 16 to 11 as we finish things off here. That is 2-0. Disregard the HUD because it's in favor of NaVi Jr. What a game and what a series from them. They played phenomenally.
They've smashed it. They've absolutely smashed it. You also, you have to think about this as well for what it was. We were talking about the fact that on HLTV officially, with that roster, they had only ever played 1 game of Train. Second matchup they've taken on Train in an official, and they've won it against HellRaisers. One of their best maps, right? And they absolutely ruined them, made it look easier towards the end.
Yep, absolutely. Clean from start to finish. I really, really enjoyed watching NaVi Jr.'s play. And I mean, look, here's the reality. I'm a very cynical person. I saw it if you guys were watching the Movistar Riders game earlier. I'm happy to go in a team when they make mistakes and when they're not playing up to standard. NaVi, what I said earlier, they're like number 70-something in the world right now, supposedly. This team played cleaner than Movistar by a country mile. I fear for Movistar coming up against them in the semifinals because right there, we saw clean play. We saw insane individuals as well. That is absolutely massive. And there you go. The history of today, 2-0 to Movistar Riders, 2-0 to NaVi Jr. And those 2 teams will be facing off against each other in the semis, not tomorrow, but the day after. And I got to say, already I'm going to say NaVi Jr. are my favorites in that one because I'm impressed by what I've seen today.
Me too. Me too. It's been actually really awesome to see them play again. I haven't seen them play in about a month and a bit, so it's cool to be behind the mic with them and see what they've been getting up to. And Easy as well, just popping off. Crazy when you think about it. A super stub at the age of 15 that's just wild at the game individually. Helped out by the rest of his team as well. It wasn't just an issue where he has the solo carry for them to win, right? They just looked good as a 5.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we're here to see, right? Some of these youth teams that are developing, right? It is the European Development Championship, but right here, I think there's a whole lot of a bright future in play for NaVi Jr., not just for Manizi as an individual talent, but for the team in general. Really excited and happy that I got to see him today and that we got to cast together, Jackie. It's been fun. Been a little bit of an early start for us. I think we're both heading back to bed now, but it's been a pleasure, my man.
It has. It's been good to get behind the mic finally after years just, sending each other sweet nothings, mate. It's good times.
It is indeed. But look, that's the end of the stream for today, guys. The end of the games. Been a pleasure commentating along for you. Of course, I'm Mitch. With me has been Jackie. And if you've enjoyed the stream, don't forget to drop a follow here on Eden Esports. We'll be back tomorrow with more European Development Championship action. And so, we bid you adieu.